Started studying more about diet and nutrition, learned more about colon hydrotherapy, and it was in the process of being on my own path, my own journey, that I decided this was what was supposed to be for me. You know, that the colon hydrotherapy was really going to be a tool for healing on many levels. Emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, and I wanted to offer that to others.
Well, you know, that's quite strange because I had to wait till I was 40 before I figured out what it was. And now that we've developed a relationship where I do fasting and, you know, I go and visit Connie a couple times a year, get myself cleaned out, and it's a great experience. I mean, someone who's never experienced it, look at these guys, they're talking about this. It's taboo, right?
Oh, very taboo. The only way people usually can relate to this is to make fun of it, you know? But you think about it, your colon is like the most important organ in your body, really, because if you're not eliminating properly, everything else is going to stop functioning.
Now let's talk about this. If you get impacted fecal matter in your colon, what's going on in your colon? Why that shouldn't be there? And what are some of the benefits that everybody could, you know, enjoy from having this?
Oftentimes it can come from bad diets. You know, the diet that we've grown up on, the typical American diet, dairy, sugar, soda, flour, wheat, all that sort of stuff, can turn into mucus if it's not being processed properly in your body. And that can then start to build up in there if you're not eliminating. The idea is every time something goes in, something should be coming out. So if you're not having a bowel movement after every meal, you're sluggish.
Within what, half hour, 45 minutes of every meal?
Yeah, or an hour, something like that, you know.
That's where we absorb all our nutrients, right? Not through the stomach.
The small intestine. It gets broken down in the stomach into liquid, then it goes into the small intestine. About 85% of the absorption goes on there. Some of it in the large intestine, but the main function of the large intestine is to take the water out of the waste material as it's passing through. Yep. If it's in there too long, the water gets totally drawn out, and then you end up with this hard, impacted stool.
No, I mean, this is a very serious subject when you think about it, folks, okay? According to what is it, the Centers for Disease Control report, all right, that came out in 2008. They predicted in 2008 that the amount of deaths from colon troubles was approximately 159,000 people across this country. And I mean, when you look at the rates of cancer, you know, people don't know how to, I mean, we spent 10 months, all right, in our last season on this program talking about toxicity, you know, population reduction agenda. And, you know, I've been wanting to have you on this program for as many years as we've been doing it now, because I know that, hey, you know, this really doesn't have a focus on the war on drugs, what we like to focus on, but, you know, we like to bring some people some common sense ways, you know.
General awareness.
Yeah, you need this kind of awareness. If you're going to maintain health, you're going to have a good fight in this life, you know, you got to take some steps to take care of yourself.
Well, and also we need to realize that we are constantly taking toxins into our body.
Tell it.
Whether we're breathing it from the air, from the water,
foods.
from the food.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like more and more of a problem.
So talk about where you're practicing right now and how people, you know, if they wanted to, get in touch with you.
All right. So I'm at Glastonbury Naturopathic Center, and I do colon hydrotherapy there 4 days a week. And I have a website, cleanmycolon.com.
Oh, yeah.
And that's probably the best place to find me. You can get my phone number there and any information. A lot of questions and answers there. It's very educational, very informative.
Yep. So, you know, some people might be asking, you know, well, why can't I just get an enema or something? And what's the difference between, you know, a home enema or, you know, is it really going to be benefiting me if I go out of my way to do something? You know, it's kind of embarrassing the first time you meet, you know, you're trying to find the right person to go and do this, and you got to cross that barrier. How come some people who out there who might be interested in checking out, you know, this therapy, you know, cross that bridge and come and see you or someone else?
I like to take a lot of time when somebody first comes and introduce them to the process.
Yeah, we're going to get him down there.
Colonic itself takes about 45 minutes, but I allow an hour and a half so that we can look at it, talk about it, look at your information. You know, I really like to find out what people are doing with their diets and things like that.
Yep.
It's a lot different than an enema. Actually, I think it's a lot more comfortable than an enema. Yep. It will clean out the whole large intestine, this upside down horseshoe that's like 5 to 7 feet long. The enema only gets the bottom third of that, and it's a lot of work. You gotta fill up with water, run to the bathroom, empty it. This is not a power wash. You know, colon hydrotherapy is actually very gentle, wouldn't you say?
Yep.
I mean, it's water
well,
gently
you got
in and
those
out.
different size speculums, and that's the only. She knows well that when I come by, don't get me that large speculum out.
That's right. You take the smallest.
That was something as I watched that other video you did. Does a lot of the clients complain that it's like there's a lot of discomfort or it's uncomfortable?
No,
or
it feels, when the speculum's being inserted, which only goes in a couple inches. It's about maybe 5/8, 3/4.
When you say beyond the initial shock.
Yeah, it feels like, makes you feel like you gotta go. And then when you have stuff starting to release, it can get a little crampy depending upon what's in there, but it passes. You know, it's not as uncomfortable as diarrhea. I mean, sometimes that's sort of what it feels like. But once the stuff passes, you feel great, wouldn't you say?
Got me coming back, I tell you.
You know, it's just feeling empty. I like to massage the abdomen on the outflow. I'm talking to people. I play really good music. It's a very
the
nice environment.
Very clean, and that's just it. You know, enemas can be messy, stinky, whereas this, you know.
It's all closed, contained.
Right.
Don't have to get up and run to the bathroom.
Now, the machine that your clinic uses, you had mentioned FDA approved versus non.
That's important. There's FDA versus non. There's closed versus open. There are different types of equipment, gravity versus pressure. But I think that the safest way to go is with FDA, using disposable tubing, speculum, using filtered water. Those are the kind of questions you would want to ask anybody if you're getting a colonic from them.
And so when you're talking gallons, all right, of during a sitting, all right, 45 minutes to an hour, whatever, what's going on in that process there?
So there are about 3 to 5 gallons of water total that go in and out of the colon as you're cleansing. Not all at once, but during the 45 minutes to an hour. You'll see about 20 gallons of water go by because there's water circulating around all the time that the water you take in then is meeting as it's carried along through this viewing tube so you can see what's coming out. That's the best part, don't you think?
Well, it's true, and you get to say, hey, Willie, you're not chewing your food good enough.
That's
now,
right.
Come on. That's the most important thing when you're eating, right?
We
Take
can see
the time.
if there's gas, if there's mucus, fecal material, whatever might be coming out. I can tell a lot about what you've been doing over the few days beforehand.
Right. Well, folks, you know, you've made this a lifestyle for you, and you not only are a teacher, you teach people how to become certified, as I know.
Yeah.
And but also in your education, all right, tell us a little bit about your background and what you've brought to the table through your education as far as, you know.
Well, I've always been very committed to the integrity and quality of the profession, especially around legal issues and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I went through my own hassles in Massachusetts when I first started practicing.
Yep.
They claimed that we were practicing medicine without a license because we said we may be able to help people with constipation. Not that we could cure it, but we may help them to feel better.
Yep.
So that, in their eyes, was claiming that we could actually cure them. So I've been very committed to educating people about what colon hydrotherapy really is about and dealing with some of those misunderstandings I think that people have.
Well, I'm impressed by the fact of your commitment, but not only that, your commitment comes from a spiritual calling of sorts, right?
Right.
I mean, come on, people. You've never heard this before, and all of a sudden, you know, we're talking about hydrocolonic, and now she's got a spiritual calling to do this? I mean, no, but really, you've investigated a lot of time, and you helped found and direct what? New England School?
Yep, I did that for 6.5 years.
Hydrotherapy.
And I still have students now that I teach more one-on-one.
Yep. So, you also do different workshops, don't you?
Well, besides the colon hydrotherapy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all taking you down that path.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
More of a
to continue and
toward
broaden
self-development and personal awareness.
Programs.
And so I'm very interested in educating people on nutrition and that aspect of healing. But from the more spiritual realm, I do workshops with my husband on relationships.
Yep.
And he wrote a book called Shadow Marriage. And so we do a lot of work on that. I also have some women's groups that I lead, looking at this whole question of how do we really get to understand ourselves better and accept even the shadow parts of ourselves. And you think of it, colon hydrotherapy is sort of shadowy too. That's sort of dealing with the deep hidden bowels. So I do that with people in groups as well.
Well, you know, for those out there who have never thought of having a hydrocolonic, you know, I mean, one of the biggest questions to people out there is, how do I know if I need one, or, you know?
Well, anybody can benefit from one. I mean, think about it. You know, we live in America, right? Like we were saying, toxins are everywhere. Yep. So it doesn't matter how pristine your diet is. Even just yesterday, I was giving a colonic to a young woman who was on a totally raw foods diet, had been for a few years, was very healthy, but she felt like the colonic was an important part of her regular cleansing process. Saw a lot of undigested food coming out, so she learned from that she really needs to chew better. She's not getting the nutritional value from the foods that she's eating.
Yep.
So anybody can benefit from this.